Hello everyone, welcome to today's session. Today we are going to see class 12 Biology, chapter 7 Human Health and Disease. So let's start with the topic. So every day we come into contact with a huge number of microorganisms. Like we touch things, we breathe air and also interact with our surroundings. But do we become sick every single day? Do we become sick? No, right? How? Why? See, because our body has a wonderful defense system called the immune system. So, the overall ability of the body to fight the disease causing organism is called immunity. So, the overall ability of the body to fight disease causing organism is called the immunity. Yes. So, then there are two major types. One is the innate immunity and another one is the acquired immunity. Then what is this innate immunity? See, the defense we are born with. Innate immunity is the defense we are born with. And acquired immunity is specific defense that develops during our lifetime and it has the ability to remember the previous encounters. So just think of your body as a fort. Yeah, our body as a fort. So innate immunity is the first security system protecting the fort. And then this acquired immunity, yes, acquired immunity is a specialized defense system. Yes, that responds when a particular pathogen gets through. So always remember, innate is born with it and acquired is developed during the life and also memory we can say. So next we are going to see the innate immunity and the four barriers of this. So just now imagine that a pathogen wants to enter your body. So before your immune system starts making specific antibodies, your body already has several barriers waiting off for it. So there are four barriers of innate immunity. What are the four barriers? One is a physical barrier, physiological barrier, cellular barrier and cytokine barrier. So now let's start with the physical barrier. So this is the first barrier and it is like the wall of your fort we can say. It is like a wall of your fort. For example, our skin. See, our skin prevents microorganisms from entering the body. And also the mucous lining of the respiratory, gastrointestinal and urogenital tracts also traps the microorganisms. So always remember skin is acting like a protective wall and the mucus it traps the microorganism. And next one is the physiological barrier. So suppose some microorganisms manage to enter and now they face another problem. See, you people know that already we have acid in our stomach. Yes, so along with the saliva and tears, it helps to prevent the microbial growth. So these are called as the physiological barrier. Then what is the cellular barrier then? See, what if some microorganism cross these barriers? See, now the body's immune system comes into action. So what it does? See, we have cells in our blood like neutrophils, monocytes, natural killer cells, and macrophages. Yeah, see, all these cells they destroy the microorganism, and some of these cells they engulf the microorganisms also, and this process is called as the phagocytosis. So just you can think of these cells as the body's security guards, you can say. And next is the cytokine barrier. So finally, we have the cytokine barrier. So when cells are infected by viruses, they release proteins called interferons. So what they release? They release the proteins called interferons. So these interferons help protect nearby non-infected cells from further viral infection. So we have four barriers. One is the physical, physiological and cellular, and last one is the cytokine. Always remember this order is very important for your exam point of view. Now let's imagine that the same pathogen enters your body for the first time. Okay, see, the same pathogen has entered your body for the first time. Your immune system has never seen it before, hasn't seen it before. So it takes some time to recognize the pathogen and produce an immune response. So this is called the primary immune response. This is called as the primary immune response. So the primary response is relatively low in intensity because the first time no. So it is relatively low in intensity. but something very important happens. What happens? See, the immune system now remembers the pathogen. Okay. So now suppose the same pathogen enters again. So this time the immune system says, hey, I know you. Yeah. So the response is much faster and stronger. And this is called the secondary response. Secondary or anamnestic response. What is it? Secondary or anamnestic response. So this memory is one of the most important feature of the acquired immunity. So now next what happens? We have two types of response here. Okay. So these two important lymphocytes are involved in this. One is the B lymphocytes and another one is the T lymphocytes. So what this B lymphocytes does, B lymphocytes produce antibodies. What it does, it produces the antibodies. This antibodies, they circulate in the blood, and this response is called as the humoral or antibody mediated immunity. This is called as the humoral or antibody mediated immunity. Next is the T lymphocytes. See, the T cells, they are involved in cell mediated immunity, or short form we can say as CMI. So what happens here? See, the T cells themselves, they do not secrete antibodies. They see, like a B lymphocytes, they are not secreting the antibodies, but they help the B cells to produce the antibodies. Okay, and also the T cells, they are involved in graft rejection, because see, our immune system can distinguish between the self and the non-self. Okay, so next we are going to see the antibody structure. So you can able to see this diagrammatic part. Yeah. So antibody has 4 peptide chain. Yes, it has 4 peptide chain. So 2 heavy chains it has, and 2 light chains it has. Okay. So it is always represented as H2. Yeah, H2L2. H2L2. Okay. So some types of antibodies mentioned in our books are IgA, IgM, IgE, and IgG. So always remember, B cells, they produce the antibodies, yeah, and they are humoral. And the T cells, they are cell mediated, yeah, immunity, and also, yes, what it does, it makes the B lymphocytes to produce the antibodies. So next we are going to see active versus passive immunity. Now let's make this very simple to you children. See, I'll ask you one question. Answer me in the comment box, okay? So who makes the antibodies? Can you tell me? See, if your own body produces the antibodies, it is active immunity. If your own body produces the antibodies, it is active immunity. So your immune system is actively working to produce its own antibodies, okay? So it is slower to develop but can be longer lasting. Examples we can give like a natural infection and vaccination. Just now imagine somebody gives you antibodies that are already prepared. Yeah, somebody is giving you antibodies that are already prepared and you don't have to make them yourself. That is passive immunity. That is passive immunity. So it acts quickly, but is generally it is short lived. So examples like we have the colostrum. Colostrum is nothing but the mother's first milk, rich in IgA. Okay, and then we have antibodies transferred through the placenta and antitoxin. Yes, how you'll remember this one? So active means I make, passive means I receive. So this is the main difference between active and passive. So next we are going to see the vaccination and immunization. Can you tell me why does vaccination work? Can anyone tell me why does vaccination work? The answer is very simple. It's just a memory. See, our immune system, it has the ability to remember a previous encounter. So during vaccination, what happens? The antigenic proteins are an inactivated or weakened pathogen are introduced into the body. So we know vaccine preparation and all how they are doing vaccine, yeah. So inactivated, it can be a inactivated one or a weakened pathogen, yeah. They are introduced into the body. So the immune system now responds to it by producing the antibodies. And more importantly, you should remember memory B and T cells are formed here. Okay. So if the real pathogen enters the body, So later, the immune system can recognize it quickly and produce a strong response. Okay, just think of a vaccination as training before the real battle. Okay, so how we can say, see, immune system, it gets a chance to learn about the pathogen before the actual infection occurs. And what about passive immunization then? See, sometimes we need protection immediately, right? So we cannot wait for our body to slowly develop its own immune response. So in such situations, what happens? So preformed antibodies or antitoxin can be directly given. Yeah, they are nothing but passive immunization are nothing but the preformed antibodies or antitoxins can be given directly. So your from your book, best examples are tetanus and snake bite. Okay, so this is called passive immunization. And next one is the recombinant DNA vaccines. So biotechnology plays a very important role here. So it can be used to produce the antigenic polypeptides of pathogens. What? Antigenic polypeptides of pathogens using bacteria or yeast. So how? See, this allows the large scale vaccine protection. Large scale vaccine protection. And then this is a very good example. Yeah. So this hepatitis B vaccine produced using the yeast. A very good example for recombinant DNA vaccines. So they may ask this in board exam also. Yes. Remember these things, children. So next we are going to see allergy and autoimmunity. Now let's look at two interesting situations where the immune system does something unusual. So first one, let us take this allergy. Just to imagine someone enters a room and starts sneezing because of dust or pollen. Yeah, you too could have experienced this after entering room. Sometimes, yeah, we used to sneeze a lot, right? So the substance causing the reaction here is called an allergen. Yeah. So an allergy, it has an exaggerated immune response to certain antigens present in the environment. And some common allergens are dust mites, pollen, and animal dander. And symptoms, how the symptoms will be: sneezing will be there, and watery eyes, running nose, and also difficulty in breathing. They are the symptoms. And which antibody is associated with allergy then? IgE. IgE. So allergic reactions involve the release of chemicals such as histamine and serotonin from mast cells. So always remember, allergy is yeah, IgE is involved and also it releases histamine. Okay. And then next we are going to see autoimmunity. See, normally our immune system should recognize what it should recognize. You should recognize the self and the non-self. Self means our own cells. Non-self means foreign organisms. But sometimes what happens? The immune system mistakenly attacks the body's own cells. So this is called as the autoimmunity. So what is auto? We already know, we learned in our lower classes also. Auto, yeah, autotrophs. Auto means self. So autoimmunity means immune response against a self. It is the immune response against a self. So always remember, best example for this one is rheumatoid arthritis. And you should know some more examples also. So type 1 diabetes also an example, rheumatoid arthritis, psoriasis, and multiple sclerosis. And then we have lupus, we have, and also inflammatory bowel disease, celiac disease, and Graves disease. So these are some autoimmune diseases. We hope much more diseases are there still, but I have given you some examples. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So next we are going to see the immune system in the body. Now we have learned how immunity works now, but where are all these immune cells produced and where do they work? We have a question, right? But for that we need to understand the lymphoid organs. What we should understand? We should understand the lymphoid organs. So there are two major groups. One is the primary lymphoid organs. Here you can see, yeah, primary lymphoid organs. So see, these are the places where the immature lymphocytes develop and mature. And the two primary lymphoid organs are bone marrow and thymus. Bone marrow and thymus. So when you take the bone marrow, see, it is a main lymphoid organ where the blood cells, including our lymphocytes, are produced. And thus this thymus. See, thymus is located near the heart and beneath the breastbone. See, it is relatively large at birth and it decreases in size when you grow up. Okay, so it provides an environment important for the development and maturation of T lymphocytes. So always remember, primary means maturation. And then what is the secondary lymphoid organs? See, after maturation, lymphocytes it migrate to the secondary lymphoid organs. See, these include like a spleen, we have lymph node, tonsils, Peyer's patches, yeah, appendix. All these are some. And what they do, see, these organ they provide sites where the lymphocytes interact with antigens and also become effector cells. So let us study each and everything. First one, we are going to see the spleen. So spleen, think of a spleen, see, as a, we can say it as a blood filter. So it traps the blood borne microorganisms and also contains a large reservoir of erythrocytes. Okay, next one is the lymph nodes. So lymph nodes it traps the microorganism. It is trapping the microorganisms and antigens present in the lymph and tissue fluid. And what they will do, they help to activate the lymphocytes and also initiate an immune response. And next one is the malt we are going to see. And what is this malt, children? See, mucosa associated lymphoid tissue or malt. See, is present in the lining of major tracts such as the respiratory, digestive, and urogenital tracts. So, according to our book, NCERT book, it constitutes about 50% of the lymphoid tissue in the human body. So, primary means maturation, secondary means immune response. Okay. So, let's have a quick revision. Let us do in the form of question and answers. So let's see the first one. What is immunity? Ability of the body to fight disease causing organisms. And two types of immunity are innate and acquired. Innate immunity is specific or non-specific? It is non-specific. And acquired immunity has one special feature. What is it? Memory. Yes. So name the four barriers of innate immunity. Physical, physiological, cellular and cytokine. And which cells produce antibodies? B lymphocytes. And which cell mediate a CMI? This T lymphocytes. And the antibody structure is H2L2. And the active immunity means body produces its own antibodies. And passive immunity means ready-made antibodies are received. And which antibodies is associated with allergy? It is IgE. Then what is autoimmunity? See, immune attack against self cells. Active immunity means, yeah, autoimmunity means immune attack against self cells. And what are these primary lymphoid organs? They are bone marrow and thymus. And some examples of secondary lymphoid organs: spleen, lymph nodes, tonsils, Peyer's patches, and appendix. So I think you can answer all these questions, children. So watch the full video. Yes, we'll see you in the next video. Thank you.